Let's stay a while longer in the financial space because government borrowed 15.32 billion cedis in Treasury bills in November to cover matured bills worth 10.60 billion cedis. This is a 17% increase over the month of October. Notably, 364-day bill attracted significant investor interest with aggregate bids reaching 2.72 million cedis. However, the T-bill yields registered an average decline of 0.05%. Nonetheless, analysts believe the government's strong resilience on T-bills will likely restrain the decline in yields in the month of December. This week, the government is expected to raise 3.92 billion cedis, lower than last week's 5 billion cedis plus. Joining us via Zoom is financial economist and visiting professor at Gimpa Business School, Professor Lord Mensah, for more on that. Thanks so much, Professor Mensah, for joining me on the marketplace. First off, I want to know the implication of this rising borrowing by government on the economy following the DDEP, and of course, it's been a year already.
Yes, I mean, good afternoon and good afternoon to our viewers. You know, clearly, it has a strong impact on our interest rate structures. In a sense that, we went into the debt exchange with, certain objectives. I mean, one of them is to bring interest rate down, and then the other is to reduce, debt burden on the government's, balance sheet, or the sovereign balance sheet, let me put it that way. As we speak now, interest rate in the short term is not able to come down because of government demand, on the market as far as funds are concerned. And, there's no lucrative business in this country compared to, investing in treasury bills, which is hovering around 33-point-something%. I mean, talking about the 1 year, which you scale down to the short term, 91-day, hovering around 29%. So clearly, it tells you that, yes, indeed, money only flows, to and fro from, government machinery, to, businesses. And I can tell you that, businesses are getting crippled. Interest rate structures are not coming down. And I don't know how long we're going to stay in this, because clearly the budget that government read for 2024 indicate that government is going to borrow about 61 billion from the domestic market, because external financial resources are blocked now as we speak, because we've lost international, credibility, since we were, banned from the Eurobond market. So clearly, and the budget makes it clear that the financing is going to be on the domestic market, and it's through treasury bills. And because of this, I believe interest rate is not going to come down now. If you spread the 61 billion for 2024, and government is bent on going by that because of, election year spending, I can tell you that every year government will be on the market, every month in 2024, government will be on the market raising on the average of 5 billion. And so, that is quite, huge. And look, if you look on the market now, I can tell you that recently government tried to raise about 5 billion. They only got 3 billion. That tells you that the interest in treasury bill is even going down. So I'm wondering, how government is going to manage the situation. And for this posture of government, I don't think interest rate is going to come down any moment from now.
And I guess this presupposes to me that government will spend heavily in 2024, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, if you look at 2022, which, we find ourselves in difficulty, and then you relate the budget deficit to what we have in going into 2024, there's not much difference. And election year, obviously, I can tell you that we should expect more government spending.
Professor Mensah, help me understand, what happens to government's own fiscal consolidation program under an IMF program?
Yes, of course. Things have been massaged. If you look at the budget deficit ratio, clearly government indicate that they're doing 5.8% of our GDP. And that is in line with the IMF program. But then that deficit, you can, realize that, we have massaged the situation by increasing our expenditure and then also increasing our, revenue. So the gap, it's more or less the 5.8, all right. But government is looking out for around 276 billion in expenditure, which is about 100 billion over compared to, last year, as of this year, as of, September, numbers. So clearly, government, per the budget deficit indicators given by the IMF, we are in line. And looking at the revenue, posture, we are also in line. But then the expenditure lines is what we need to look at, because government intends to spend over 100 billion compared to what, as of last September, expenditure was given us. So clearly, I can tell you that yes, per some of the numbers, we've been able to dribble the IMF in a certain direction to make sure that, they accept, the indicators. But from where I sit, we just played with the numbers to make the numbers look good in the eyes of, the IMF program indicators.
To what end, really? Thanks so much, Professor Lord Mensah, for your time. He's an economist and also a visiting professor at the Gimpa Business School, sharing his perspective with us on the matter. And we've got...